karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamam vande paramanandamadhavam Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 22. The Srishti, the creation, emerges when Hiranyagarbha or Prajapati is awake, means during his day. When he goes to sleep, the entire creation merges back in him. And this happens avashaha, helplessly. You and I have no choice. It is programmed. But beyond this, independent of this Hiranyagarbha, is the ultimate reality, the Paramatma Tattva, called in verse 21 as Avyaktaha Aksharaha. Avyakta, Indriya Agochara, imperceptible, cannot be perceived in terms of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. Atindriya, which can resolve only in Chaitanya and Chaitanya alone. Only the pure awareness principle alone. That is Avyakta, is called Akshara. Akshara, Brahma. It is also called as Purusha. Why Purusha? Abides in all of us as I. Or it is Purna. Purna, we translate as full and complete. What it means is limitless, Ananta. There is nothing other than that principle at all. So that is how to know this Paramatma. Bhaktya ananyayatu labhya. Bhagavan has said, Ananyaya bhaktya labhya. By unswerving devotion is possible. The question comes, what is bhakti? Of course, to begin with is Navavida bhakti, or what is called as sadhana bhakti. Bhakti as a means to tune myself to the higher principle, Paramatma Tattva. But at final level, it is Para Bhakti, Sadhya Bhakti, wherein me, the individual, and the Bhakta, and Paramatma, the ultimate principle, are one and the same. Poles. What remains is Bhagavad Tattva. There is neither Bhakta nor Bhakti. Same thing is defined like this. Swaswarupanusandhanam bhakti. Shankaracharya in Vivek Chudamani defines bhakti as Swaswarupanusandhanam. Anusandhanam, Chintanam, meditating upon Swaswarupa, one's own real nature. Meditating on one's own real nature. Again, there only Chadamani says, Swatma Tattvanusandhanam Bhakti Riti Apare Jagu. Some others say, Swatma Tattvanusandhanam. Anusandhana, Chintana of one's principle, real nature. That's what bhakti. That is the ultimate bhakti. Actually, whether you say aparoksha jnana or parabhakti, the entity is one and the same. Labels are different. So therefore, by such bhakti, by ascertainment and constant dwelling on our Swarupa, so one can gain this Purusha. And with that Purusha, Yasya antasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. This Purusha, Paramatma, is the entity within whom entire beings abide, by whom everything is pervaded. See, in whom all beings abide means without which all beings have no existence. What it can be. Let us take our own embodiment. What is that first and last in our embodiment? We have got different layers, as it were, of our personality, embodiment. Physical body, vital apps, mind, intellect, ahankara, I notion, ignorance. All these are inert in nature. But we know for ourselves, we are not inert. We are sentient entities. All these physical body to ignorance, they come and go. The basis which makes us aware of them is what? Everlasting, ever existing. So therefore, Yasya antasthani bhutani. All living beings abide in which? Chaitanya, pure awareness. Yena sarva midam tatam. By which everything is pervaded. That is Purusha Tattva. That needs to be known by bhakti. Now see how far we are from our Swarupa. We are what? We are Chaitanya, without which we don't have existence. And yet we know it not, because mind is totally preoccupied in anything and everything except this Chaitanya. Technically, the mind is preoccupied 24/7 in anatma, entities other than Chaitanya, the inert things, to the total exclusion of Chaitanya Swarupa Atma. So this is our Swarupa, the ultimate reality. In this chapter, Bhagavan has spoken about some upasanas, meditations, by which one can go to Brahmaloka and can gain what is called as Krama Mukti. From here, after death, one goes to Brahmaloka. There he stays until the Kalpa ends. And with teaching is that here once a week class, there every day with meditation. So at the end, when the Kalpa ends, he gets liberated. But for such Upasaka, there is a route, marga, by which they have to travel. And there is a specific way of yoga practice by which they have to eject out their Sukh Sharira. Means Ashtanga Yoga practice is required for such people. The route needs to be told. It is called Uttarayana Marga or Devayana Marga. In contrast, other one is Dakshinayana Marga, Pitrayana Marga. So these two routes that are followed after the death to go to heaven need to be told, and therefore Bhagavan explains them. We'll see in a nutshell. So there are two. One is Uttarayana. Uttarayana, that is northern solstice, also called as Devayana Marga. Other is Dakshinayana, southern solstice, or Pitrayana Marga. Pitrayana. How to know that? Actually, it is not based on time factor. Really, it is not based on the, what is it, northern solstice or southern solstice. I hope you know what is northern solstice. Northern solstice is the period which is from 22nd December or 22nd December, depending on that particular year, up to 22nd June. And from 22nd June up to 22nd December is the southern solstice. What you say? The sun turning toward the south. Northern is sun turning toward the this north. Generally, we take as Makara Sankranti. 14th January as Uttarayana. Actually, it begins on 22nd December. Makara Sankranti is a specific sun entering a specific zodiac Rashi, which is auspicious. But this Uttarayana, northern solstice starts on 22nd December. Those who can mark the position of the sun, so you can around December you can see that sunset. At the sunset, sun goes to the the sun goes to the south, to the extremest. From 22nd December, you'll find that movement toward the north starts. It is not 14th January. But this is not what is meant here. It is not actually based on time. It is based on certain routes manned by certain deities called Ativahika. Ativahika means guides or conductors. There are certain guides who guide the jivas through that route. They're called conductors. So these two paths are named after the deities who serve as guides or conductors. That is the one by which, that is the path by which one goes to Brahmaloka is called as Uttarayana or Devayana, and it is guided by these deities called Agni, Jyoti, Ahaha, presiding deity of the day, Shuklaha, presiding deity of the bright fortnight, Shanmasa Uttarayanam, presiding deities of northern solstice. Those who travel by this route, guided by presiding deity Agni, Jyoti, day, presiding deity, this Shukla Paksha, bright fortnight, Uttarayana, northern solstice, they go to Brahmaloka and they don't return, they gain Kramamukti. Whereas those who take to only Vaidika karma, but no upasanas, they go by the route Dhumaha, presiding deity of smoke, Ratrihi, presiding deity of night, Krishna, Krishna Paksha, presiding deity of the dark fortnight. Then Shadmasa, Dakshinayana, presiding deity of southern solstice. Those who travel by the path which is guided by these or conducted by these deities, they go to heaven, return back. Thus, as far as these two paths are concerned, they are determined by the corresponding presiding deities and not actual time. Means even in night, even during Dakshinayana, a jiva can travel by Uttarayana Marga to Brahmaloka. Even in Uttarayana Marga, Uttarayana, during the day, a jiva travels to heaven from where it is returned. Not that all who are meant for Uttarayana Marga dead in Dakshinayana, that wait until it comes. Otherwise, it is not slow. Anyway, so these are the two types of Marga. Now there is Brahma Sutra dedicated to this. to show that it is Ativahikaha, the conductors, conducting deities, conducting guides, who determine the path and not accurate time. But there it is said, this applies to those who are Vaidika Upasakaha, those who take to Upasanas as per the Vedas, Shrauta Upasaka and Karmas. But for those who are Smartha Upasaka, Smartha means Upasanas given by Smriti, for them it is taken as Kala, as actual time. But mainly it is, that is meant by Ativahikaha, the guides or these conductors who are presiding deities. So therefore, these two, Gati or Marga, are 24/7. Not that only daytime, only bright fortnight, only Uttarayana, no, or only night time, only dark fortnight and Dakshinayana, no. 24/7, both margas operate. But it is guided by set of different deities. So therefore, those who know these two paths, in terms that those who take to Upasana meditation, by Devayana, Uttarayana go to Brahmaloka, don't return. Others return. They develop Vairagya for Dakshinayana and take to Uttarayana Marga. But this is only meant for Upasakas, meditators on Brahma. But those who have got Atma-jnana, Brahma-jnana, they have nothing to do with these margas. If I am aware of, if I experience my Swarupa right now here, by gaining Aparoksha, Atma-jnana, Brahma-jnana, no paths are involved. Right now here, at the moment of Aparoksha jnana, one gets liberated. There is no travel. There is no traveling marga for the jiva. The jiva disintegrates right now here to be what one is, just like the moment the mud pot is broken, pot space remains total space. That is the case of a Atma-jnani, Brahma-jnani. And that being the case, Arjuna, you give what? You gain this Atma-jnana, Brahma-jnana. If not, become a Upasaka of Brahma, so that you can gain Brahmaloka by Uttarayana and gain moksha, what is called as Krama Mukti, gradual liberation, which is at the time of end of Kalpa, end of dissolution of this creation. Then Bhagavan Krishna praises this knowledge contained in this chapter, which is answer to Arjuna's 7 questions. says such person goes beyond even the maximum punya that can be gained and gains the highest abode, which is my Swarupa. With this 8th chapter is over, which is Akshara Brahma Yoga. Akshara, indestructible Paramatma, the Chaitanya Swarupa, which is the ultimate goal of life. Now start the 9th chapter called Raja Vidya Rajaguhyam. Raja Vidya, not royal knowledge. Rajaguhya, not royal secret. It is the Raja Vidya, the king among the all knowledge. Rajaguhya, it is the king among all the secrets. Atma-jnana, Brahma-jnana is the topmost knowledge. Why? Because it makes you discover you are Paramananda Swarupa, free from sorrow. It is not some utopian dream. It is the truth. But our mind is so conditioned that we are not able to discover this in spite of persons like Krishna telling us, in spite of Shruti, Vedas, Upanishad declaring at the top of their voice. Because in spite of this, the mind revolts. How is it possible? I think it cannot be. How so? Because our 24/7 experience contradicts it. This is because there is some defect in our mind which denies us this truth. Therefore, though this knowledge is the topmost among knowledge, a common man has no value for it. Even though told, the mind is not ready to accept. And this being our Swarupa, what we refer to as I, and yet we don't know. Topmost secret, the king among the secrets. To enthuse Arjuna, Krishna introduces the chapter as Raja Vidya Rajaguhya, or what he called as, no, he has not told that. What Bhagwan says, Arjuna, I am going to teach you now Jnana along with Vijnana. Two words as used. Jnana, Jnanam Teham Savijnanam Yajnatva Moksha Seshubha. I'm going to Pravashyami. I'm going to teach you now. Knowledge, Jnana, along with Vijnana, Atma Sakshatkara, Brahma Sakshatkara. The meaning of this story is very important. Generally, Jnana in Adhyatma Shastra means Aparoksha Jnana, direct knowledge. There is one step below, what is called as Paroksha Jnana. First hand information, not first hand information. Information as per Shastra. Oh, there is something called Brahma. Me individually different. There is Brahma. This is what is called as Paroksha Jnana. But that is Brahma Asti. There is Brahma. It presupposes me different from that Brahma. This is Paroksha Jnana. Brahma Asmi. I am Brahma. This is Aparoksha Jnana because when you say I am Brahma, you should necessarily have the Aparoksha Anubhava of I. Whenever you say I am such and such thing, that such and such entity is experienced by you. You say, I am hungry. First you experience hunger and then you say, I am hungry. I am angry. First you experience anger, then you say, I am angry. So I am Brahma, Paramananda. First you experience, I am Paramananda Brahma, then you say, I am Brahma. This is Aparoksha Jnana. That experience is called Vijnana. Otherwise, Jnana word itself means Vijnana. Anubhava, Aparoksha. But he has used two words. So therefore, whenever Krishna uses two words, the meaning of Jnana gets restricted to bookish knowledge. Knowledge gained by through scriptures. And Vijnana, direct experience. If Vijnana word is not used, Jnana can mean either bookish knowledge or direct knowledge also. So he says, I'm going to tell you that knowledge with the experience, having gained which, you will get freed from Ashobha, Amangala, inauspicious, means samsara, which is characterized by unwanted sorrows. Samsara is sorrows. There is no samsara with wanted happiness, samsara with unwanted sorrows. No. Samsara means most of it is sorrow only, with little happiness, passing happiness here and there. So Lord Krishna, and this Jnana Vijnana is called as Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. And it's not difficult. Pratyaksha-avagamam, very important word. It can be easily, directly experienced. Dharmam, in accordance with dharma. Susukam, very easy to gain. Avyayam, its result is unsurpassed, everlasting, never ending. So that word pratyaksha-avagamam shows it's not something after death, etc. Right now, here we can experience that, provided we prepare our mind. Again, he highlights the knowledge. Those people who have no Shraddha in this knowledge, Ashraddhadhana Purushat, verse 3. Mam aprapya Mrityu samsara vartne nivartanti. People who have no Shraddha in my teaching. Bhagavan Krishna says this. See, one of the main purpose of Krishna taking avatar, Bhagavan taking avatar Krishna, was to impart this knowledge. There are other missions also, but one of the on the agenda, this imparting teaching was one of the main purpose. I have come to give this knowledge. Unfortunately, people have no Shraddha. Such people who have no Shraddha in my teaching, leave alone they gaining me. Even they are not able to take to the path that makes them gain me. Gaining me is Bauduram, far, far. Even they are not able to take the path like bhakti, etc., devotion, etc., which makes them eligible to gain me. So therefore, so they get ruined. What is the knowledge? See now, what is Bhagavad Sarupa? You will know. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadav vyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavartita nachamatstani bhuta pashyame yogamaishvara bhuta brahma cha bhutastha mamatma bhuta bhavana. Very important two verses which unfolds what is Paramatma. But it is coined in contradictory statements. We have to know its import. Says to begin with, Maya tatam idam sarvam. Idam sarvam, this entire cosmos. Maya, by me. And who is that me? Krishna, Paramatma Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva, by me. Tatam, Vistrutam, Vyaptam. Entire cosmos is pervaded by me. Who is that me? Is Krishna, Vasudeva Putra, Vrindavan Vihari? No, 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 no. That is for outside appearance. But in reality, Avyakta Murtina. Murti, the entity which is Avyakta. Avyakta means Indriya Agochar, not perceptibly available. Which cannot be seen, tasted, touched, smelled. Which cannot be known as an object, this. Avyakta. What is Avyakta Murti? Where is this unmentioned entity? Imperceptible entity. That explained by second line of verse 4 and first line of verse 5, both put together. See, even a child can tell here that there is contradiction in the statements in second line of verse 4 and first line of verse 5. And yet, through this contradiction, Bhagwan wants to convey us what Paramatma Tattva is. Matsthani sarvabhutani. Let us take the literal meaning. Sarvabhutani, all objects and beings. Matsthani, abide in me, Paramatma. All entire Jagat consisting of objects and beings abide in me, are centered in me, have no existence apart from me. It must be that Paramatma. Whereas aham teshu na avasita. I am not dependent on them. I am not abiding in them. I am not centered in them. Just give this sentence. Entire Jagat of object and beings abides in me, depends on me, is centered on me. Whereas me, Paramatma, doesn't abide in them, doesn't depend on them. That is this. Again, I am not abiding in them. This next verse, first line. Nacha matstani bhutani. All objects and beings, Srishti, Jagat, is not in me, is not centered in me, is not dependent on me. See my skill of creation. Pashyame yoga maisha. How great is the skill of creation. Now here, all objects and beings are centered in me, abide in me, depend on me, and in the same breath, Bhagavan is telling, all objects and beings are not abiding in me, are not centered in me, are not dependent on me. Even a child will say there is a contradiction, is it not? At one affirmative, in the other statement, negative. Do you mean to say Krishna forgot what he said in the earlier breath? No, it cannot be revealed without such contradiction. The best way of understanding these two lines is to resort to our famous example of Rajju Sarpa in the Vedanta. Example of a rope being mistaken as the snake. There we can find out that phenomenon of rope being mistaken can be described exactly in terms of these words of Bhagavan Krishna. Listen. The mistaken snake abides in the rope. It is centered in the rope. It is dependent on the rope. The mistaken, but the rope is not abiding in the snake. The rope is not dependent on the snake. The rope is not centered on the snake. If you know this, you have understood what Bhagwan has said. When we say that mistaken snake is abiding in the rope, it means if rope were not there, there is no occasion for us to mistake it to be a snake. From this standpoint, we say the snake is dependent on the rope. The snake is centered in the rope. But from the standpoint of truth, the rope is not dependent on the snake mistaken. Nothing to do with that. The rope is not dependent on the mistaken snake. The rope is not abiding in the mistaken snake. I hope you understood this. Because mistaken snake is not the basis of rope. Rope was, rope is, rope shall ever be. Because you didn't know the rope as rope, you saw a mistaken snake for a while. On discovery, you discovered that there is no mistaken snake. All that is the rope and rope one. Likewise, me Paramatma Chaitanya Sarupa was, is, and ever shall be. But because of ignorance, it appeared the same Paramatma as the mistaken snake as Jiva Jagat Ishvara, depending on Paramatma. But Paramatma Chaitanya is independent of Jiva Jagat Ishvara. The rope is independent of the snake, whereas mistaken snake is dependent on the rope. So what is my point? From the practical Vyavahara standpoint, the Jagat, Bhutani, object beings are centered in me. From the ultimate standpoint, there is nothing called Bhutani, Jagat. All that is there, me and me alone. And therefore, see now, I create the Jagat, truly there being none. Experience cannot be denied, but truly is not there. So therefore, in this sense, I am Bhuta Brut. I sustain all the being and object just as the rope sustains the mistaken snake, mistaken garland, mistaken stick, mistaken crack in the earth, like etc. Nacha bhutastaha. Still, I am not dependent on them. Mama atma bhuta bhavana. Mama atma, me Paramatma Swarupa, is the one who created the entire Jagat in this manner. They appear to be there. Truly, what is there is only Paramatma Tattva. So these two verses should be understood in the right manner. Jagat depends on me. I am independent of them. Me Chaitanya is necessary for Jagat Jiva, but me Chaitanya is independent of them. So therefore, the so-called Jagat Jiva, which is an appearance, comes and goes. Better you discover your Swarupa. How the entire Jagat is centered in me, for which Bhagwan is giving an illustration. Yatha kasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra goma tatha sarvani bhutani matstani tyupadharaya. Mahan vayu, the great air principle or wind. Akash is the abides in all pervasive Akash space. Likewise, entire cosmos is centered in me, Paramatma, Chaitanya, which lends them existence, which makes them known. The existence of the Jagat is me, Chaitanya. The knowledge aspect in the Jagat is me, the Chaitanya. Without me, Chaitanya, there is no existence for the Jagat. There is no knowledge of the Jagat. Thus, everything is centered in it. To reduce this to our practical level, I am. Any entity XYZ is because of Chaitanya Paramatma, without which it has never existed. Anything you say, I know. I don't know means I know that I don't know. Because of Chaitanya Paramatma. Tell me, can you miss Paramatma even for a microsecond in your life? Because your life is a series of experiences. Good, bad, indifferent. Moment by moment, you experience means what? It is experience known. The very warp and woof of easiness and knownness is centered in me, Chaitanya Paramatma. Come on. Independent of that, this you show your existence. Independent of this easiness and knownness, that is existence and knowledge or experience. Show your existence. Do you exist? Not at all. See how we are centered in Paramatma. How we are abiding, remaining in Paramatma. How we are interwoven in terms of warp and woof in Paramatma. And yet we know it not. Even told, we have no inclination to discover it. Paramatma is not at loss, sir. We are at loss. That's why Bhagavan said, Ashraddhadhanaha Purusha. One who has no Shraddha to inquire on these guidelines. It is impossible for him to gain me, not me, even the means by which he can gain me. Shraddha is very important. So that just as the Vayu abides in the space, entire Jagat abides in me. See, this shows that how our Swarupa, Our real nature is Chaitanya Paramatma. So like this, from this Paramatma, entire creation cosmos emerges at the beginning of Kalpa, merges back at the end of the Kalpa. We'll continue that. The question is, can you please explain about Upavasa? Mark the word Upavasa. We, as Bharatiyas, Indians, are very familiar with this word Upavasa. In English, they translate it as fasting. Better we know what it is. Because what is happening is, I jocularly say, fasting becomes feasting, or Upavasa becomes Upahasa. I hope you have understood the difference. Upavasa, fasting. Upahasa is farce. F-A-R-C-E, farce. In the name of fasting, we change the menu of our food, and more often than not, eat more than what we have eaten normally. This is not Upavasa. This is mockery of Upavasa. What do you mean by Upavasa? Of course, in Upavasa, food is restricted. True. But not simply restrict the food is Upavasa. It only a means for as a means for something else. The word Upavasa conveys what it is. Upa Vasa. Upa Samipe, near. Vasa, dwelling, remaining. Remaining, dwelling near Bhagavad Swarupa is Upavasa. And to remain more and more near Bhagavan, you curtail your daily intake of the food, because it needs more preoccupation in that time. It needs more energy on the body part to digest it. You are redirecting toward the pursuit of gaining Bhagavan. That's why on special occasions, as per our Sanatana Dharma Shastra, such upavasa, fasting are recommended. It is only a matter of rearranging the time factor, rearranging the energy factor, rearranging the bodily energy resources, so that more time and more energy is redirected towards constantly dwelling on Paramatma Tattva in different ways of sadhanas, depending on the occasion. This is the principle of upavasa, wherein, of course, the diet is restricted to the bare minimum to keep the body going on. It is not substitute of your food habits. It is not change in your diet. So it is becoming more and more preoccupied with sadhana to that extent you devote less time in your daily eating, cooking, etc., for which certain rules are given. The best definition of upavasa is available in the Upanishad itself, in the Vedas itself, in Varaha Upanishad. I have taught this Upanishad. Those who have learnt it will know it or must have forgotten also. What is upavasa? Is very well defined. Varaha Upanishad, chapter 2, verse mantra 39 and mantra 40 describes what is upavasa. Upa samipe yo vasa jivatma paramatmano. Upa samipe yo vasa jivatma paramatmano. Upavasa savidneya. Upavasa savidneya natu kayasya shoshanam. Natu kayasya shoshanam. This is upavasa. Jivatma paramatmano samipe yah vasa. The proximate, close dwelling of Jivatma and Paramatma together. That is upavasa. What is this? Living, dwelling together between Jiva and Paramatma, Jivatma, Paramatma. Is it husband and wife living together? No. This together living is discovering Jivatma to be Paramatma. Jivatma, though appears as samsari, in reality is a samsari Paramatma. That is together living. That is upavasa, dwelling near. Saha upavasa vidneya. This discovery of identity between Jiva and Paramatma is to be understood as what upavasa. Natu kayasya shoshanam. Not emaciating the body by denying the food. So by denying the food, you can't. So that, see, if your mind is not preoccupied in the higher pursuit and you fast, where will your mind be preoccupied? On stomach. You are getting more and more hungry and you are not supposed to eat. That is not upavasa. Your mind is so intensely preoccupied in the Swarupa you are impervious of your daily eating also. So natu kayasa shoshana. So therefore, this emaciating the body is not upavasa. See, by emaciating the body, you are not going to get anything. That's what the Upanishad says. Kaya shoshana matrena. By just punishing the body, by just emaciating the body, by just making the body weak. Kaha tatra hi avivekina. What is avivek is, ignorant people can gain. Nothing can be gained. By simply torturing the body, by simply denying the food to the body. Oh, that doesn't mean that you want pamper the body by eating. No. Bare minimum should be given to the body. The body should sustain. But simply by denying it, nothing much can be accomplished. How? For which an illustration given. Valmika tadana deva vrita kimnu mahoraga. See, Valmika means, you know Valmiki? Muni? So Valmika means ant hill. Valmiki Muni was so immersed in the tapas, Ram Nam Japa, that he was not aware of the body and the world around. Ant hill got erected, and he emerged from that ant hill, Valmiki. Ant hills are generally the abodes of snakes. Snake doesn't have its own habitat. It enters the ant hill and stays. Say, Valmika Tadana Deva. What English they say, no? Beating around the bush. By just what beating the ant hill, do you mean to say the big snake will get killed? Vrita Kimnu Mahoraka. Mahoraka, Mahoraka. Big snake. Is it going to get died? So like that, by simply upavasa or denial of food, the knowledge cannot be gained. So therefore, no doubt in the Shastra, on certain occasions, food is being restricted. It is only to make you available more time for spiritual pursuit. But what happened was, the purpose was lost and the routine got stuck up. That also is not followed properly. They think that changing the menu of your diet on that particular day is upavasa. It is not so. Upavasa as a vow are there in plenty of Shastras, but as only a means for higher pursuit and not to emaciate the body or not to pamper body by eating something else. The spirit of it has to be taken to. Oh. Om samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om shanti, shanti, shanti.